Hello and welcome back to Mark's Garden UK at Rose Cottage near Nantwich in Cheshire. How and when to prune hydrangea is a question that I've been asked at least a dozen times now, and to be perfectly honest with you, until this morning I didn't know the answer to that question. When I don't know the answer to a question, I don't just make it up. I go away and do some research, and they do say that there's nothing new under the sun. All these answers have been given before in other places. So I went away and did some research, and I found two very valuable resources about how to prune hydrangeas. And I'm going to put a link to those two guides in the description box below this video. One of them is from the Gardener's World website, and one of them is from the RHS, the Royal Horticultural Society website. And both those guides will be linked in the description box below this video. But in summary, the main thing I learned from both those guides is you don't do it in autumn, and it's the 3rd of October. So I'm not going to be pruning these hydrangeas today. You prune, in the main, most hydrangeas in the springtime, and there's a reason for that. I'll cover that in a moment. Now, in the springtime, when it is time to prune hydrangeas, I will do a guide to how and when to prune hydrangeas, and I will put the link to that video up here on the screen, so that if you're watching this expecting a full guide, if we've already reached next spring, you'll be able to see one there. In the meantime, look in the description box below this video and read those two resources that I've signposted. And the reason you don't prune hydrangeas at this time of year is because the stems consist of kind of a corky material which absorbs quite a lot of water, and that water can freeze in the winter time, and it can damage the new buds which have set for next year's blooms. So what you're supposed to do with these blooms is leave them on the plants, because they provide an element of shelter for next year's flowering buds. So if you're thinking of pruning your hydrangeas now in autumn, stop, don't do it. Wait till next spring and watch the guide that I've done, which I've already talked to you about. So that's pruning hydrangeas. I've answered the when question, which is in spring. When you start reading those guides, I'll tell you now, it might feel like a bit of a minefield. I wrote down a few of the species names for hydrangeas: Macrophylla, Aspera, Serrata, Quercifolia, Paniculata, Arborescens, and that's to name just a few. It does feel like a bit of a minefield, but I think when I was looking at that research, it was kind of boiling down into 2 or 3 simple processes, and I'll share those with you in the springtime. I'm moving these now because it's October, and in the UK in October we have this festival called Halloween, and so we normally do a little Halloween display here with pumpkins, so I'm moving them out of the way. They don't look particularly pretty. I'm going to move them to a sheltered place. I can do that because they're in tubs, and I'll move them to a sheltered place, and then in the springtime I'll think about pruning them. These are the hydrangeas where I made the free plant supports after some twigs are cut off an apple tree, and they've done a brilliant job. They've held these blooms up in the air. They're quite susceptible to blowing around because they're quite top heavy. So again, there's a video on how to make free plant supports on my channel. So we'll be moving these out of the way today in preparation for the Halloween display. I've also got another job on today, which is I've got 2 lovely Trachycarpus plants which are going here into the parterre. So whilst I'm doing that, I'll share everything I know about Trachycarpus fortunei. So there we go, look at that. Last bloom of the year. Isn't that a shame, because that's not going to stay the course, but a single lone bloom on my hydrangea Annabelle, which is one of the arborescens varieties I've learned. I'll see you soon for some more hydrangea pruning adventures in the springtime. Bye for now.